November 18th meeting of the Parks and Recreation Committee. Would everybody please rise and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Been a while since I've done this. Okay. Hey, Jenny, I think it's roll call.
It is.
Correctly. All right.
Member Dykens?
Yes.
Okay. Vice Chair Sinatra?
Here.
Member Gordon?
Here.
Chair Wise?
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. So I guess the next thing is approval of the agenda, correct, Jenny? Yes. Okay. The first item is the meetings from last week, correct?
Mm-hmm. Are there any changes to the
Any changes?
So we just need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting?
I'll do it. Motion.
Second?
I'll second.
A motion moves.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Right, okay. All right. Any audience comments? Guess we don't have any audience out there. That's pretty easy. Okay, and I guess with that, we move to Mandy's presentation.
I think we're going to start today with Eileen Torres. She's with our Public Services Department. She's the Public Properties Operations Manager, and she's going to give the presentation on the parks and facilities updates.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Eileen Torres, Operations Manager for the Public Properties Division. I took over Parks in July. And I wanted to go over some of the projects, maintenance, work orders, and post-storm updates with you. In the presentation, it shows some significant projects that we've completed, one of them being the mulch installation of all the dog parks. We finished all of them except for the big Vina Del Mar dog park. We needed a contractor to bring in the mulch for us in order for us to finish that project. And so we actually secured a new contractor, and we're hoping to get that done by the end of December.
Sorry, I have a question about that.
Sure.
I live on Vina, very familiar with that dog park. Are they taking out, because I don't know where the mishap came from. I think they ordered bark and not mulch. If you go there and look, the dogs won't go in there. And it's big sticks. It's not like, and the issue becomes that dog park's full of dog waste because people don't pay attention and then they can't find it and it blends in with the mulch. So I don't know what they're bringing, but it's been a big concern in the neighborhood that it's more like bark. It's not really mulch.
Okay, we can look into that with the new contractor. That's not a problem. The Egan concession and restroom remodels have been completed. We took that in-house to kind of stay within budget.
Question.
Sure.
We'll do this as we go.
Okay.
I went actually over to Egan and saw the work that was done in the restrooms. It's done very nicely. But one of the things I noticed when I first looked at Egan, when I got appointed to the committee, was that the fascia from the roof surrounding the building, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, that's our next project.
Rotted and unpainted.
Yes.
It's the next project?
Yes, we have that on our project list to do in-house.
Glad to hear it.
Yep. For the Egan Big Field project, we have that scheduled for the end of the year. We originally went out to bid, but it came out 3 times more than what we budgeted, so we decided to take that in-house. So the completion date will be at the end of December. That's our goal. The new installation of Hurley Park Playground was completed, and we had the ribbon cutting October 14th. So here you'll see our yearly maintenance schedule. We try and keep that schedule. It ensures that major projects are planned with clear timelines. Adequate crew resources are allocated for each task, and smaller ongoing projects continue to receive proper attention, preventing neglect. This is our proactive approach to maintain the health, safety, and aesthetics appeal of our parks and facilities. Right. I also put in the weekly maintenance. Our weekly maintenance landscaping schedule helps to reiterate our goal to ensure that all areas remain clean, healthy, and visually appealing. It also allows us to address issues promptly and keep us up with seasonal growth patterns. And while we follow this weekly pattern, we do make adjustments due to weather conditions or during slower growth periods to allow staff to focus resources where they're needed most. I know in the last meeting you wanted to see work orders. So since July, we received 16 C-Clicks Fix work orders related to park maintenance, in which 13 have been completed, and the remaining items include Egan Park Big Field and the Vina Del Mar playground fence, which are expected to be completed by the end of the year. We have completed 4 or 5 related C-Click Fix work, tree-related C-Click Fix work orders, and we've completed all of them except for the Vina Del Mar tennis courts. We, this week, are planning to trim back the cypress oak away from the tennis courts. And then post-storm updates. We have listed for you some of the accomplishments that we have done. There is a typo here about Egan Park. It said we had the project tentative completion for December 8th. It's updated to the end of December, the end of the year. We did get an update this morning that the topsoil will be delivered December 1st, and the trencher will be delivered December 2nd, and then we will begin. Update to Sunset and Fisherman Park. The city has engaged in advanced engineering design to provide a task assignment proposal for engineering design services for Sunset Park and Fisherman Park rehabilitation. This project is budgeted for fiscal year 2026, and the city is coordinating with FEMA for public assistance and is pending funding obligation. Engineering design and permitting will need to be completed before construction. Any question?
No.
Yes.
Sounds good.
All right.
First question is, who is in charge of oversight and supervision of the people who are actually doing the work? Is it their immediate supervisor? How do we know the work is getting done as it's ordered?
So we have a crew chief. I have 2 crew chiefs that oversee the team. And basically, when I have a work order, I give that work order to the crew chief. The crew chief sets a schedule, and then I talk with the crew chief on that schedule. And then if they cannot make the timeline that was projected, then they come to me and say, we need a little bit more time, or these are the problems that we have encountered. And then we change up the schedule to fix what we need to do in order to get that project done.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about the McKinney Park
Okay.
trees. They were recently out there removing some shrubbery. There are 3 tall dead trees that died after the hurricane, and they're on the park property, but they apparently weren't included. Do you know if that is something that was part of the project? Is the forest? We have a forester on staff, don't we?
We have an arborist, correct?
Arborist, yes, close. Was that something that went through him? Did he make the decisions over there?
The 3 dead ficus trees that were next to the dog park?
No, not that one. The ones that border the north edge with the Shrimpies and Carino's retail center. That was the recent work that was done removing ficus trees and shrubbery. There were 3 tall trees that were on Gulf Boulevard at 90, whatever that avenue is. So I've been watching that and wondering, when the city would take action on that. I don't even know if it's on the radar, but I thought it was interesting that they were working on some small shrubbery down low, but hadn't paid attention to the clearly dead trees.
I'll look into that, and then I'll get back to everyone.
One of the questions that I asked in my first meeting here was, where's the report of the survey of the parks after the post-hurricane? And I never saw one. I'm not sure there was one. So that's okay, but it's something that probably should be in a future plan. But for the trees and issues like that, I would have thought that arborist would be out there looking at things like that and saying, we need to take care of that.
Okay.
I'm not sure how those work orders were being done. So also, are you, the shuffleboard court building at Paso Grill? I first learned it was going to be demolished when I saw that it was going out for bids for demolition.
Correct.
And I had asked questions about what's going on with that and really couldn't get an answer. And so I guess that was the answer. Who's making those decisions? Are those being done in staff level? Is that being done by the commission?
It would be done by commission. I know that recently we received approval from FEMA to have the building demolished. So the next steps would be bringing that to commission for final approval.
Is that FEMA, is that still in negotiation, or is that a completed item, what FEMA's paying for and what they're not?
I don't have that
Okay.
information, sorry.
At the Ursias Park, where they put the new sign in, I think it was a new bench or something.
Correct.
I was at Commissioner Maldonado's meeting a few months ago where someone was raising a really big stink about that park. And I think it was primarily about the dock, the fishing pier, or if you want to call it that. And it's still sitting there in disrepair. I don't know whether that's on the list. Do you know?
I don't have that answer, but I can get that information to you.
Okay, well, my thought on that is unless it's required by a deed of gift to maintain that, there's a really good one like 50 yards away that people are using. So demolition would probably be more appropriate, but yeah, I was just curious. And as for, I'm a big fan of signage. And so my thought would be on signage to put a sign on there, here's what we're doing with this. Or check in with us, or a QR code or something, because it just appears that we're not doing anything. And that would be one of my thoughts on how to handle that. Okay, that's all I have.
Anyone else? Okay.
Thanks, Eileen. Okay, so I guess really if there's no other questions on the parks aspects, I have a couple of things on the recreation side to kind of go over with you all today and get some of your input. As you know, at our last meeting, we spoke about a fee study and how we've started working towards revising our fees and taking a look at them. And today I have a few more questions that I kind of want to get clarification from the advisory committee with, as far as how do we want to proceed in this fee study. So they've given us some preliminary information that I haven't shared with you. What I would like to do is schedule a meeting in January once I have your feedback from today's meeting, so that we can kind of go over everything together before we do any kind of presentation to commission. So let me go through this presentation pretty quickly here today, but as I mentioned, your input mattered. So the city is conducting a fee study to review the current pricing for recreation programs, facilities, and rentals. We are comparing these fees to neighboring municipalities as well as market rates. The goal of this is to establish consistent, transparent cost recovery goals and support equitable access and long-term financial sustainability. The committee's input will help shape recommendations to City Commission and inform policy direction on fees and subsidies. So we really are looking for your input today as far as how we want to proceed with this process. So what values should drive our fee structure? How will fee changes impact our residents? So these are some of the things that we'd kind of like you all to think about. We can go through and get some feedback today. But then, like I said, once we get the fee study results from Raftellus, we'll go ahead and we'll do a more in-depth presentation with you, and we can always change our thoughts at that point. So today I'd kind of like your input on what principles should guide how we set our fees. I mean, should it be based on affordability, fairness, cost recovery, access for all? How do you think we should balance taxpayer support versus user fees? How do you think the public perceives our current fees? And are there specific groups we should protect or prioritize? What impacts could higher or lower fees have on participation? So I'll give you a minute if anybody has any comments on anything on that slide. Any feedback. I'm sure that you've all kind of looked at our budgets and seen what our revenue and our expenses are, and I know cost recovery is one of our major, our goals for the year to try to recoup back some of what we're putting out. So what are your thoughts on our guiding philosophy and overall impact of this fee study?
Manny, has there been any study in terms of, these questions are kind of, I think it's difficult for me to make the decision. I mean, has there been any studies regarding what the public, the residents are asking or thinking about these questions?
We haven't done any outreach to the public as of yet. I think that's going to be part of it once we get kind of your input and we can kind of see where we can go. Now, I can give you a little background of what traditionally we're looking for in the recreation cost recovery. So we have these different tiers. So tier 1 is kind of a community benefit. That's your parks, your playgrounds, your trails, your open spaces. That's normally tax funded, primarily tax funded, 100%. Tier 2 is a mixed benefit. So you've got sport leagues, community classes, special events, and camps. Those are the recommended cost recovery at about 70%. And then your tier 3 is your individual benefits. So facility rentals, anything that is just for your benefit. So facility rentals, adult leagues, private lessons, those are recommended at a cost recovery target of 100%. So right now, we're kind of operating at a very low cost recovery. We're heavily funded by our taxpayers. So that's the point of going through this whole study. So really, you know, what we're just kind of looking for is any impacts that you think that may, you know, we want to kind of identify any impacts to the public that you think could be an issue moving forward. So if we were to raise these to get to 100% cost recovery in 3 to 5 years, you know, what are the impacts? The impacts to recreation could be you see less participation. People decide to, you know, go somewhere else to go to a fitness room once we get that reopened. Those kind of things, you know. So I mean,
that's another topic, right?
Yeah, that's another topic. But basically, you know, we're just trying to get a little bit of input. And like I said, this is kind of thinking points for when I do the full presentation with you in January, where you can see the actual numbers. So what I'm kind of looking for is for you all to go out into the public and do a little bit of research for us as well. Talk to your neighbors, talk to the people that do use our facilities and our programs and our activities, and get their input so that when we do bring the projected increases or decreases based on categories to you, you have a little bit of input from your neighbors. We're going to try to do the same thing with the people that currently use our programs at the Recreation Center and at the Aquatic Center. We're going to reach out to our classes and kind of do a study on, you know, what do they think is a fair rate for what they're being charged right now. So these are not questions that you need to answer today. These are just moving forward in January when we do the presentation with the fee study, kind of where we want to go with this.
So the conundrum, at least from my perspective, is you've got, everybody's kind of tired of taxes going up, people's budgets are a little bit out of alignment, and then you got I guess there's a pretty big number that the city owes with infrastructure. $200 million is the number I keep hearing, right? Has the committee, the commission, have they stated anything regarding how these fees need to be put back into balance to help not add and keep offset some of this cost coming up in the next 10 years?
We haven't brought the fee study to the commission yet. They are aware that we're conducting a citywide fee study. So at some point, they are going to have input as to how they want to see it too. What I'm asking for this committee is to kind of give our recommendations on the recreation side of what we think is appropriate.
Can we get a copy of the current fees that are being, you know, brought forth to the public, you know, so that we have the education of what do you think this should cost?
Sure.
What are they charging now? You know,
Yeah.
I don't think we all as a committee
No.
know what
I
that
think-
is.
Yeah.
Sure, I think definitely for our January meeting, that we'll have a copy of the existing fees. What we'll present to you will be the existing fees, the recommendation from Ref Tellus, and then for our community, a committee input. We'll take that information, and then we'll bring that information to commission for what their recommendation is overall.
So the big thing you mentioned right at the beginning was doing a study with other municipalities in the area.
They've researched other municipalities through this fee study.
Their fee structure is, what their cost structure is as well, because that's
Yes.
a big piece of this also. Are we in alignment with what our costs are?
Yes.
Okay. And then you have different tiers for individuals, maybe on that lower end of the income spectrum that can't afford maybe an increase, and how we affect that. So kids, for example, can still go swimming.
Yeah, and some of that's going to be further along in this presentation. So this is, let me move on to our next slide, and then maybe some of this stuff will answer your questions. So if we're moving on to our cost recovery expectations and affordability, some of the things I'd like you all to think about, which activities should aim for higher cost recoveries? Are resident, non-resident rates and prime time differentials appropriate? Should we implement or expand scholarships or sliding scale programs? We do offer a scholarship program for our summer camp, but we don't offer our scholarship program for any other activities that we do right now. And then, are there partnerships or sponsorships that could offset costs for participants? Right now, we work with Silver Sneakers and Renew Active. They're both through insurance, and we do offer a member can come in with their Silver Sneakers card and take a fitness class at no cost to them. And what they do is Silver Sneakers, we submit the report to them at the end of the month. Silver Sneakers and Renew Active reimburse us for the cost of that class for that participant.
I didn't know that.
I didn't
Yeah.
either.
So talk to your healthcare provider.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so-
Maybe that's something we should, I don't know, is that advertised somewhere on the portal, the city side, or?
We have it on our website as far as, a Silver Sneakers option, but we don't advertise that Silver Sneakers is a free program for people to participate in these classes. They do it at multiple locations. You can do it at other gyms as well, not just a municipal
Okay.
facility. But that's something we'll make a little note here too to add that on. Okay, so just to move along here, these other talking points. So once we do figure out the fee structure and how we want to move forward, how are we going to get support from the community and, advertise what we're doing? So how should we communicate fee adjustments to ensure transparency and trust? How can you as committee members help gather community feedback or share information? What non-negotiables do you believe the city should maintain? And are there any other additional considerations for staff as the fee study continues? Is there anything that you would want to see brought forward in a fee study outside of a cost recovery?
And I was looking at some of the, I got that report from Mark. Thank you for whoever starts sending those out every week. Those are nice. And it looks like some of the classes just don't have, like Zumba, for example, not to point them out, doesn't have a lot of participation. I don't know if that adds a lot of overhead costs to just kind of even to maintain the notion of having a class like that, but
It's going to
I was
depend.
thought about maybe scaling everything down, because there's a lot of classes.
We do offer a lot. We have a wide range of classes. Most of our classes are anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes. So when this fee study, part of what the fee study is looking at is the length of a class, the cost of the class per participant. Because we work on a 70-30 split with the instructors, the instructor retains 70%, the city retains 30% of the cost. They're taking a look at that 30% and basing it on what kind of electricity are we using, how big is the room, how many participants are using the program. So they're really doing a full evaluation of everything in this fee study.
Mandy, are you in charge of the fee study? I mean, you know what's going on. I mean, in terms of the analysis of the data and all that.
I've been involved with them with Reftelis. We actually have an outside company that's doing this. Yeah, this is an outside contractor that's doing this for us, and like I said, it's citywide. But right now, they're really focused on recreation so that we can kind of get a grasp, and if we need to change fees anywhere, we want to be able to do that sooner than later.
So normal course of their business, this is what they do.
This is what they do. Yeah, this is what they do.
What data to look at, how to do the analysis, how to report the findings.
They do, and how to tier everything, and if there's
Recommendations.
all their recommendations. So we'll be bringing all that forward to you, like I said, and hopefully in a special meeting that we can all attend in January. We'll have all of that information. So that just kind of gets you started with thinking about fee studies and where we're trying to go with this. Like I said, we're not trying to raise the rates on everything.
Oh, no.
That's not our intent. Our intent is to make the best use of what we have. They're looking at rentals, they're looking at special events, they're looking at everything that we do, our programs, our pool, everything. Open swim, open gym, all of that. And to see how competitive we are with the surrounding cities.
What have we done in the past to get this out to the public for their feedback in the past?
We haven't done a fee study probably in 15 years. So it's been a while. Our fees have been the same. I know that when we did it maybe 15 years ago, it was really just kind of an in-house thing. I mean, we made recommendations based on, you know, what we felt as staff at the time would be appropriate for fees. I don't know if we've ever really undertaken a full fee study like we are right now.
Probably being really transparent this time around is going to be.
Definitely. Yeah, we definitely want to make sure that we have involvement and we have you all involved and your input, you know, to move forward with the process. But so that's kind of where we're at with the fee study. Now let me jump over here to our co-sponsorship agreements for special events. So I'm looking for a little bit of input on these as well. So we do a lot of co-sponsorships throughout the city. The purpose and intent of this is what should be the main goal of a city co-sponsorship? What criteria should determine if an event qualifies for co-sponsorship? So we do already have a co-sponsorship application, and it does outline some of this, but we just want to make sure that we're on the right track as far as what you feel should be in a co-sponsorship. What should a co-sponsorship involve?
And what are some examples, just I'm not, you know, what are some of the examples of what we do today from a city co-sponsorship perspective?
So right now, we have co-sponsorship agreements. So when we brought this to you last March, I believe, for the list of events, I outlined a list of events that were going to be co-sponsored for 2025. That included some of the Corey Avenue events. That included...
Talking special events like, I mean, obviously we got the Sunday, but also like Halloween or...
Right, any of these
Patty's
Halloween,
Baby, those
yes.
type of activities to draw people down to Corey?
Yes. So a lot of it's heavy Corey Avenue. It's some Paso Grill. It's 8th Avenue Party Under the Lights. That's a co-sponsorship that we do. So there's multiple events throughout the city that we will co-sponsor with. And what it has traditionally involved in the past is a waiving of the permit fee, the special event permit fee, if there's any EMS costs associated with the event, and if there's any sheriff costs associated with the event. The event organizer is still responsible for a certificate of insurance, for the hold harmless agreement, to provide a site plan, and to run the actual event, to do the logistics of the event.
I have questions.
Sure.
How much of those fees and the EMS requirements, how much of that is in law, is in our insurance requirements? How do we decide that someone putting on the Trunk or Treat Corey Festival and the group down in has a street party have to pay the same fees and have the same EMS and the same fire and sheriffs? Who decide, where, is that written down, or is that something that we've just decided?
They don't pay the same. So it's based on the hours of the event and what's all required. So if it's a larger event, additional sheriff may be required. There may be some events that sheriff is not required at all. There may be some events that EMS is not required at all. So it's event specific. And when I brought this to you in March, the spreadsheet that I had outlined what the costs were for each thing.
And I agree that the numbers are not identical, but I looked at the street festival in a neighborhood which is sort of a tight, it's not through traffic or anything, and I thought, I cannot understand why they can't just put 2 barricades up and call it a day. And we actually paid those fees, and I thought, who came up with the idea that we have to have all these people there? The sheriff is 2 minutes away, the ambulance and fire is 2 minutes away, and we're treating that the same way as we're treating the Corey Avenue Festival or the Paso Grill, the 8th Avenue Festival, and I didn't understand that. So my thought is that we should revisit the requirements, and see how we can reduce the requirements. And I look at the Corey Avenue Sunday Market as a model for what requirements should be for all of these other events. Because Corey Avenue Sunday Market has no sheriffs, fire, EMS, nothing. There's a single individual, I saw her, who puts the barricades out, controls traffic, sets everything up, takes it all down, and that goes off without a hitch every Sunday. And that's a major operation. It's closing several streets. And I look at that and say, well, if they can do that here with some basic barricades and one person's in charge, why can't they do that everywhere? And I use as an example, I went down to look at the 8th Avenue street party where they closed 8th Avenue. And I counted 27 vendors. There were, I think, 12 businesses that had their doors open, were taking advantage. So one or two of the bars set up tables in the street. There was a bandstand. The fire department had a booth where they were cooking as a fundraiser, yet there were private food vendors also on the street that paid to be there. And we waived the fees for fire and EMS. They were there. So the equipment, the trucks that were on duty were there. So there were a lot of people who were there on duty in their vehicles, and yet there were all these fees. And it didn't make any sense because all they needed was 2 barricades and one person in charge with contact information. And so I look at that and think, is this just a holdover from how can we give extra money to all of our people for overtime, or were they even on overtime? And I look at that and wonder, why can't they all be like the Corey Avenue Sunday Market? So that's my input there.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. So I will speak to the fire personnel that you did see out there cooking. That's all off-duty, that's through their union. That's not anything that we're paying overtime for, that's through their union. Now, we do require EMS, depending on the size of the event. If it's over 250 people, we do require EMS to be on site, and that is included. But as far as the individuals that were cooking at the venue, that's fire union, and they're not on duty.
Well, the fire truck was there.
Yes,
I'm
correct.
assuming some people with the fire truck were on duty. The rescue, there was a fire rescue truck, the one with the surfboards on it. They were there. I'm assuming they were on duty. The sheriff's vehicles, I'm assuming they were on duty.
Sheriff was, yeah, sheriff's provided, yep, you're
But
correct.
but we charged and waived and paid a sheriff's fee.
Correct.
So and we're fairly small island. The EMS and sheriff and fire are minutes away from every site, especially like at Corey Avenue. The fire department is right there, they can walk over. So yeah, I look at that and wonder, why do we have all these fees? And I think that it could be just a holdover from, maybe it was unions or prior insurance requirements or something. But I would look to see how we can reduce those rather than see about waiving them.
Yeah, we definitely can. That's kind of what we're talking about today. So we kind of want your input. So, right now, as it stands, 250 people at an event will trigger different things. So it'll trigger EMS. It may or may not trigger the sheriff, depending on the location and the type of event being held. And the hours, and what else is happening on that day. So there's a lot of different factors that go into it. And right now, as far as the sheriff, when we do ask for the requirement, they give us their recommendation based on their experience from past events, past similar events, past events in our city, as to what would be needed to control that type of event. Because the last thing we would want to is for something to happen at one of our events and not have EMS available or to have sheriff available. So, there does need to be a standard where we do have EMS and sheriff at events, depending on if it's a size. Now, is it 250 people or is it more? We don't know. But that's kind of where we're going with that. But I mean, to leave an event completely open, we do need to be able to protect the people that are in attendance at those events. So
I don't want to force the poor Sunday Corey Avenue Market to have to get all of these people out there and park a sheriff's car and an EMS and a fire truck and all of that there. I don't want to force them to do that, but there are more than 250 people. So I asked the question, why can't they be a model for how we do all of the others? And, I wonder who's coming up with that 250. Is that a state law? Where's that coming from?
That's something we need to look into too, because I'm not sure if that's state law or how that goes. But these are all good questions, and we're going to take notes,
Excellent.
and we'll bring it back down
Okay.
to you to kind of get a little bit more information. But this is kind of the discussion that we want to have as far as these special events. Is it too restrictive? Is it not restrictive enough? Do we need to add more? Do we need to take things away? So I've definitely made notes on your comments, and we'll look into it a little bit more.
Great.
So as far as these organizer responsibilities, where am I at now here? Fee waivers. Okay, so goes back to what type of support should the city provide? Should we provide this fee waivers? Should we provide staff support, facilities, the certificate of insurance? Should there be limits or tiers of support based on event size or type, which is kind of what you were getting at, I believe. What conditions should lead to a suspension or termination of support? And how should the Recreation Advisory Committee be involved? Review, recommend, or approve? So does anybody have any kind of thoughts on that as far as the process? I mean, I know last year when we presented the co-sponsored requests, I mean, we went through them one by one, but I think all of them were approved, and we didn't really have a whole lot of questions. Is there anything else that you would like to see different in the process?
Well, I think that when you presented that to us, we were blindsided and we punted. So we basically said to the commission, do what you normally do, but we'll look into this, and that's what we're doing. So I do believe that we should have input. Somebody has to have input and oversight. And if it's us, that's great. I don't know if the commission is into that. I don't know if the staff has any, I don't mean to call you staff, but if the city workers have any input or desire for change or anything, they may just say, let's just do it the way we always did it. So I do think we should have input on that. I think this is the place to do it.
Agree. Is there
And-
anything else that you would like to see as far as when I bring it back to you, or whoever brings this back to you? As far as like the documentation, is there something that was missing on there that you would like to see? Would you like to see a full event packet? What would you think that you need to see to be able to make an informed and educated decision based on level of support for these co-sponsored events?
First, I'd like to see how many incidents or events occurred at any of these festivals that required EMS, fire, sheriff. I think that should be something that should be in a post, there should probably be a post-event report. Here's what happened. We had no issues. Also, I would like to know if it's a for-profit event, did they make tons of money? I mean, if we're tossing money in to waive a fee for the public good, we're essentially paying admission for our residents to go to make money for these people, which seems odd.
So keep in mind too, when we do approve them, most of the special event co-sponsorship requests that we receive are from a nonprofit.
And yes, I do know that, and setting up a nonprofit is a great way to do that. So let's take a look at that nonprofit's financials. That'll pique some interest.
Is there anything else that you would like to see as far as when we present to you for recommendation? Is that it? Okay. All right, so what do we think that the organizer's responsibility should be? So should they provide and cover the insurance, the hold harmless agreement, safety items? Should the organizers be required to report attendance, outcomes, or financial information afterward? I think that we've kind of already touched on that, and we've said that, yes, we would like to see a post-event analysis of all of this that's listed here. Anything additional?
No, man, I get, so when somebody comes to us, what is their perception regarding what they could receive? I mean, it's kind of, they're coming to us based on they're looking for something, right?
Right.
What typically is that something?
Well-
They want funding, right, but what's driving that? Just because we've done that in the past and now we're gonna continue to do it in the future?
I think so, and I think that, you know, on the recreation side, we like it when people come in and they want to co-sponsor with us, because it's another event and activity that we can bring to the city without having to do a lot of that extra, you know, planning, organizing, implementing. You know, it's a benefit to the city as a whole. If you're going to have a concert out here at Corey, you know, people can come out here and they can enjoy that time, and it's very little staff time to have to put something like that together, and it's a great event. I mean, they have a good turnout. It supports local business. It drives tourism to our region. I mean, these are all good things. So, I mean, we really want to move forward with it. I think what they're looking for in exchange is help, you know, to provide the barricades, to provide cones. It could be to provide the waiver of some fees so that they're able to offset some of their costs associated with putting on some of these events. I think that's the main driving force for people to come in and try to partner up with the city.
Another comment. I think that if we make it easier and less expensive for people to put on events like this, we'll get more events.
We could, I mean, it could be a possibility too. I mean, the waiving of the fees isn't solely the driving force too. You know, we want to make sure that these events are safe for everybody so that people do want to come back. If they come to an event and they don't feel safe at the event, that could be an issue too.
Yeah.
So we really need to try to find a balance with what we're doing to make it maybe a little less restrictive, but not so open that there could be issues in the future where people start getting hurt at these events. We definitely don't want that. We want to make sure that it's a fun, safe, enjoyable time for everybody.
As part of that, one of the, I think the example of the 8th Street or 8th Avenue party with the fire department was there with the trucks and the rescue trucks, and tons of people were there because it's a great place to be. And one of the things that you'll notice about our sheriffs especially is they will spend time hanging out. And we know where they hang out. I know where they have lunch. I know where they talk to each other. And that's a good thing. We want them to be out and around in the community. But if there's an event and that's a hangout place, they're going to be somewhere. If you're not cruising up and down the roads all the time. So that's a freebie. Fire truck has to be somewhere. It can be there. Let them sell hot dogs. So there's lots of freebies. So, and the fire truck has a paramedic on board. So there's all kinds of ways of doing that to make it easier.
I mean, people's perception these days of wanting to know in the back of their mind there's EMS and there's police presence, et cetera, is huge.
It is.
I mean, I do it myself, and you know, yeah, I'm sure everybody else does. They go down to a night at Corey. I mean, you know, hey, do we have the proper amount of, in case something happens, it's.
Yeah, you definitely want to see their presence out there. I mean, it just makes for a better event if you have them out there and visible. And whether or not they're talking to the patrons or not, or the guests and the visitors, I mean, that's great. We want them to interact. We want them to be involved with our community, and we want to, you know, have a presence out there. So that's the goal of this. So, so how do we think that co-sponsored events demonstrate community benefit? Should there be an evaluation process, which we've kind of already talked about? And how do we ensure transparency in which groups receive co-sponsorship and why? Which I think probably leads back to the post-event evaluation. And then how can we ensure that these partnerships strengthen and not strain our city resources? Are there any thoughts or comments on any of that?
So the typical strain would be, obviously we got set up approvals, et cetera, there's a certain formalities, you know, getting the sheriff to show up to an event and that, but is it a cost component?
Primarily cost component, and then it's also could be staff, it could be staff heavy depending on the type of event and what is needed as far as, you know, barricades or if staff is going to be required to be
Staff
there.
would be us, for example, the city
Yep.
putting barricades up on the end of the streets, for example.
Staff on site to assist with some of these events too, at some of these street closures. That could be a strain. But, I mean, really, the strain is monetary and then some staff-related, staff time,
Yeah.
so. All right, so are there any questions on co-sponsorships? We'll bring something else back to you. We are looking to open up our co-sponsorship application January 1, and it'll run through, I believe, March or April. I'll have to check on that date and get back to you, but we do open it up to all of the nonprofits in the area, anybody that wants to co-sponsor with the city, and we want to have a plan in place prior to that. So your input's been valuable, and we'll revise our special event co-sponsorship application based on some of the feedback that we've received today.
So did we talk to our compadres and the other municipalities in terms of how they handle this stuff? I mean,
We have.
all the way up to Dunedin, I mean, they do phenomenal, right?
Yes.
Sarasota, I mean, everybody's got
Yes.
fairs going on and such.
Yeah, we've reached out to all of them. So Dunedin has sent us back, their packet of what they do for all of their events and how they plan it out a year in advance. They have a full calendar that shows exactly what's happening every weekend. They not only require just the co-sponsorships to pre-apply, but basically anybody that wants to do an event in the city to pre-apply. So every city from here on up, I mean, everybody has some good and some bad that they do with their events, and we're just trying to see what will work best for St. Pete Beach and, limit the cost for the sponsor as well as limit the cost for the city, and then still provide a safe and great event, so.
Yeah.
Is that something that we could see, what other cities are doing?
You can go to their websites and see too. I mean, they've got everything is on their city website. So if you go to like the city of Dunedin and put in special events,
Okay.
their permit pulls up. Most municipalities will have their event permit online.
Terrific.
So take a look at that. Okay, that ends my presentation today.
I have a comment on the percentage of cost recovery. And you mentioned the 70%. And I just wanted to go on record saying I'd be a fan of having it lower. I don't think it's, I think that part of the lifestyle here is beach and recreation and vacation, and the more that we can encourage people to get out and use things and do things and not have cost be an impediment, or gee, I don't want to pay $8 for this or $10 for this. And there are, I know from using the pool, they lose money every time I go there, but but it's part of having the pool.
Right.
And the fitness center, the same thing. We're not making a profit on all of the events that you're scheduling and doing in recreation, and we shouldn't. I think that's part of, it's like the parks or the library. I mean, if we truly wanted to have cost recovery, we would charge admission to the library, which is crazy. But that library is very expensive. The renovation alone was shocking. And you have to wonder in this day and age, I'm not picking on the library, but in this day and age, this is my library. So, but it's I'm glad we have it, and it's it's a wonderful asset. But clearly, we don't make money on that. And so if you were to apply that percentage of cost recovery across the board, it would probably be 5 or 10%.
Right. And I think, too, it's important to remember, cost recovery is one little portion of what we do as recreation or aquatics or even a library. I think that the quality of life, health and wellness benefits outweigh a cost recovery all day, every day. So, I mean, I think that's the kind of discussion that we're going to have, hopefully, when we set this meeting in January, to kind of talk about, yes, this fee could be this, but does the community benefit or the individual benefit outweigh what this cost recovery should be? So we'll take a look at all of that when we present to you with the actual fees in January.
I know last time we got together, we talked about, you got the city components, you got the individual or organization who wants to hold an event, and they also have the other ones that are all the hotels. I mean, those properties that are benefiting from some of this stuff in terms of their participation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you handle that, but, I mean, clearly, when you go down to Corey Avenue, a lot of people come from all over the area, but a lot of people are staying at the hotels are coming down to take advantage of that, which is a positive. So,
Yeah.
how do the hotels, the businesses go ahead and contribute?
Well, I think they, right now, as far as like contributing towards our normal everyday events, you know, I mean, like you said, they're bringing people. I mean, there are people that are staying at their event or staying at their resorts and they're coming to our events. So, I mean, that's boosting our look, I would say, as the community. So, I mean, that's kind of a benefit for them, and for the city, because without those people coming, you know, these tourists and visitors coming to some of our events, they're going back and they're telling people how great it was in St. Pete Beach. And I mean, that could be a big boost for our economy. So look at that as kind of a benefit. As far as monetary benefit, no, at this point.
Yeah, I get that. I just was kind of over it.
Work
Just like
on
with the
that.
whole, it's gonna be interesting with the whole budget issues we got coming up in the city, how it's gonna shake out.
Mm-hmm. So, well, I think that's it for
Nope,
present.
not it. I've got a question.
Okay, sure.
Sorry. I have a lot to say. Recently, Upland Beach was mostly closed for the beach renourishment. And on the city's Facebook site, they posted, Upland Beach is closed, no access. And I live there and run there, and I was running across the single access point at 73rd Avenue, and I thought, oh, well, that's just simply wrong. So, and there was no signage indicating use the access down here. They just roped off or yellow taped off all of the access except that one. It's kind of hidden, you have to look for it. And so, basically, we closed our beach. But it wasn't closed, and some people figured it out, but others didn't. And so I wrote to Mark Portugal. What's his job description?
Mark's our communications manager.
Right, is that communications? Is that his thing? I sent that to him and said, hey, there's access. And then after it reopened, I said, hey, it's reopened. And so, is there anything else I can do?
Mark would be your best bet for that. And, you know, there is sometimes that, for safety reasons too, I think that it was probably mentioned that Upland Beach was closed for the renourishment, trying to keep people away from that area as much as possible. And that south entrance was still open and available, which is part of the public beach. So I think it probably originated as a safety concern, and trying to keep as many people as possible off of Upland Beach and try to funnel them maybe down towards County Park or Paso Robles during that time. And then reopening the beach, kind of, you know, yeah, that's something, we would just have to bring that up. As far as when we open and close things, we can bring it up and talk to our communications a little bit better. Maybe we can communicate a little bit better that what's open and what's closed.
Okay, and my last question, the C-Click Fix. I've been doing a lot of stuff through that, and there are some things that they just will not fix. Fortunately, at Hurley Park, the mayor had a ribbon cutting, so they fixed the water fountain. But it had been on the list for a long time. So I'm thinking maybe the mayor needs to have a ribbon cutting at each of the parks, maybe once a week, and then we can get stuff worked on. But one of the things is that when the repairs are actually made, some of them are poorly done, really poorly done. And when it gets close...
Quality of the job, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, quality of the job, or just not done at all, just closed. But yeah, I put in a couple things that were damaged, and they halfway repaired it. It's like it was poorly done. It was the kind of thing that if you were to show it to any of the supervisors, all the way up to the mayor of the person who did the work, they would say this is crazy. So there was improper or lack of oversight on that. And one of my thoughts on that is we could revise the C-Click Fix so that a photo has to be posted of the repaired item instead of just closed or acknowledged. And if something's acknowledged, there should be a next step and date expected. Is that something that you can relay to whoever does C-Click Fix, or do I need to talk to somebody else?
No, we'll relay out over to C-Click Fix and see if those are options that we can add into to the system. I'm not sure what the capabilities are of C-Click Fix at this point, so that's something we'd have to look into.
Okay, well, when there's, when the acknowledgement is done or the closing is done, there's a comment. Sometimes it's thanks for submitting this or whatever, it could be fixed, but I'm sure there's a way to do that. But, yeah, I would, I'm happy to do the oversight for the city, but city should be doing its own
Yeah, I
oversight.
think that that's the, goes back to what Eileen mentioned earlier too. We have crew chiefs now, we have, operations managers, we have different levels throughout our organization that go out and will inspect the work after jobs are complete. So I think that's part of kind of the oversight on their part of going back out and just making sure that the job's done to standard.
Okay. If you need help, let me know. I'll talk to Commissioner Maldonado. What do you guys think on that?
Great.
Get stuff done at your part. Get that fascia taken care of.
So we still need approval of minutes and the meeting dates.
Motion to approve the meeting, the minutes. Is that what it was?
Oh, did we do that? Yes. So moved, second.
Anything
Did
else?
we set a date?
And we'd like to try to go ahead and set a date for the January meeting to go over the fee study.
Sure.
I'm not sure what everybody's availability is. I thought January 20th would probably be an appropriate date. Falls in line with our Tuesdays.
I believe that would work for me.
Good.
Yep.
I'm good.
We'd like to go ahead and set that date.
Okay, and then there were two, excuse me, two meetings in the, sorry, two meetings in the packet that were included for next year. If you had a chance to review
Those are
those.
standard, typical.
Those are your standard, yeah.
Yes, I just need a motion and a second on that too,
Motion
please.
approved?
Yes.
Second? Approved.
Thank you.
And you were going to send out that kind of budget stuff that we talked about, right? So we could look that over?
I will, prior to that January meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, that's on the final that you'll come up with, but what we're doing now so that we can talk to the public about?
Yeah, the fees and everything, yeah, what our current fees are, that'll be sent to you. Yes.
All right, good. You all done? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you all. Very good.
Thank you.